Well, it's all Greek to me. Hello and welcome to Intoxicated Masculinity. If it's Wednesday, we have a cocktail video coming at you. Some of you might be wondering why we're not doing something for St. Patrick's Day. Because we're not. One interesting thing to note, though, is March isn't just St. Patrick's Day. March is also Greek Heritage Month. And since it's Greek Heritage Month, I thought it'd be a good time, since I found a couple of these in a liquor store in town, we would try a couple of Greek cocktails. So we were going to go and try the Ouzo, which is sort of the traditional national drink of Greece, and I also found Metaxa, which is a brandy-based liqueur, and it's got sort of its own little interesting properties. And we're going to try to make, well, I was going to say we're going to make two cocktails. We're going to make one cocktail and then one other thing that isn't technically a cocktail, but that's fine. But I think before we do anything, what we should do is drink. So let's try both of these guys and see what we think. I'm going to start off with just a little bit of our Ouzo. And then add in just a little bit of our Metaxa to barley glass. Now, I'm sure everybody's probably had Ouzo at some point or another. It is a very strong aroma and a very strong flavor. I mean, if you don't like anisette, then you're not going to like this. It's just plain and simple. This is a lot of anise. It's also got some sweetness on it too. It's not super dry. I mean, to me, I've tried to place this after getting my nose in it a lot. The best thing I can say is Good and Plenty's. If you were a kid and had Good and Plenty's at the theater and you like those, you'll probably like this. If you had Good and Plenty's at the theater and you're a kid and you hated them, I wouldn't recommend this. So there's not a lot of surprises on the palate. It's exactly the same on the nose, just Good and Plenty's, straight through Good and Plenty's. Black licorice, again, a lot of anisette. It's not a harsh anisette. If you've had some Amaros before, there's like a more, and I can't think exactly how to describe it, but it's a more harsh anisette. This is a little sweet. This is a little candy-ish, for lack of a better term. But again, whether or not you like it is very much dependent on whether or not you like that anise flavor. So if you like it, try it. If you don't, don't. Next, we're going to try our Metaxa. It's got a very, very, very small nose. I should read what the Metaxa is to start off. It's kind of interesting. So it is a combination of Samos muscat wines, aged wine distillates, and Mediterranean botanicals. On the nose, you're getting botanicals. There's very little of the brandy on the nose. Yeah, it's very, not a strong nose at all. The palate has just a ton going on. You are getting that brandy flavor. The brandy is very much around the outside. The botanicals are doing all the heavy lifting in the flavor on this particular spirit. I'm getting description of flavors and things like this are always very imperfect. I'm getting a little bit of cola flavor, I think, kind of at the back. When you think botanicals, don't think gin botanicals, because you think gin, you think sort of summery, springy, kind of light, crisp botanicals. This is more earthy, more like savory. I like it, but it's very different. When I first went into this, I sort of read the back and I was thinking, okay, this is going to sort of basically be like brandy and gin had a baby, and it's very much not. Again, the brandy is retreated to the back for, I think, the majority of the evolution of the spirit, and you're just getting these botanicals. And again, it's very kind of earthy, savory botanicals. So definitely an interesting spirit. If you see that one, I would definitely check it out just for the experience, if nothing else. But we are here to make cocktails, so I think what we're going to do is that. And we've got some ingredients. So the cocktail that I'm going to make for you is one that I sort of had a hard time finding at first, because I didn't see a lot of classic cocktails that had Metaxa as the primary spirit, or really any of the spirits. So I did what everybody does when they want a cocktail for a particular spirit. Go to the website. I thought this cocktail seemed like it was the most interesting given this set of ingredients, and I kind of thought that it could kind of go one of two ways. If it goes the way I think it's going to go, then I'm not going to like it at all. But the people that made it seem to have a lot of confidence, so I think maybe it could work. So we're going to start off with a piece of ginger. The ingredients list doesn't say how big of a piece of ginger. I used a piece probably about 1/2 inch square to 3/4 inch square. I figured that was a good starting point. Next we're going to go to our simple syrup. You're going to put in just under 1/2 ounce of simple syrup. And then you need your fresh squeezed lemon juice. And here we're going to go for 3/4 ounce. Now, before we add in our main spirit, we're going to get on our muddler. And you don't need to destroy this thing, but you definitely want that ginger broken up a little bit so it's going to release its flavors into the drink. So I think the ginger is really going to make or break this cocktail. Alright, I think that's pretty good. Alright, and finally, we're going to add in 2 ounces of our Metaxa. And I should say this is the Metaxa 5-star. There's also a Metaxa 7-star and 12-star. They just simply don't have those around the area where I'm at, so 5 stars is what we went with. Now, let's get some ice. Let's go ahead and dump that in there, ginger and all. Let's give that a good shake. Crack that open. This is going to be served in a red wine glass with ice. So this is sort of almost a take on a spritz, really. I lost my strainer. All right, let's go straighten that right on in. Alright, now it doesn't give an amount. We're going to top with tonic water. Now this to me was what first kind of raised a red flag. I didn't know tonic water was going to go in here, so we will figure it out. Just going to top that right on up. And now we don't want to lose our fizz, so you're going to get in there, you're just going to give it a little bit of a turn just to make sure that our tonic gets mixed in there with other ingredients. We have the lemon spring. That's a really good cocktail. Now I actually added a little bit more lemon juice than the recipe calls. The recipe calls for about 1/2 ounce, and I put in 3/4 ounce. I think the citrus helps it in this case. If you're, I don't even think if you're sensitive to citrus that 3/4 ounce is going to bother you too much. It's kind of an interesting drink because a lot of times spritzers come off as being a lot more springy or summery, whereas here the ginger is kind of giving it a little bit spicier of a note. Yeah, it's very fresh. You get the Metaxa, some of the botanicals are coming in. It's just a really well-balanced cocktail. So it did not come out like I thought. It came out way better. So cheers. That being said, we have one more thing to make, which is not technically a cocktail. And let's get to that. And now we're going to go on to the second thing, which again is not technically a cocktail. In my understanding, a cocktail has to have at least 3 ingredients. In this case, it's going to have essentially 1 with water. So we're going to start off with just a chilled glass with an ice cube in it. Now, Ouzo is the national drink of Greece, and a lot of people drink it a lot of different ways. The way that I'm going to prepare it, I think, is sort of unbalanced the way most people would probably drink it in Greece. So we're going to start off with 2 ounces of our Ouzo, and we're going to spill some, but that's all right. Typically, the way people are going to enjoy Ouzo is either straight with ice or with water or some combination thereof. So we're just going to do ice, water, Ouzo, and I'm going to do this as a 2-to-1, so I use 2 ounces of Ouzo, and I'm going to put in 1 ounce of water. And one thing you'll notice is water has the property of making the Ouzo milky, so kind of you can tell the water's in there. So we pour our water in there. We see it milkify, which is a technical term that I just made up. I'm just going to give it a little turn just to cool it down a little bit. Alright. And our traditional Ouzo. Just very good and plenty. The water hasn't had a significant impact on altering the flavor. But also adding an ounce of water definitely isn't giving it a watered down flavor either. You just have more good and plenty. I think for a lot of people, anise is kind of a love it or hate it thing, although I'm kind of an exception in that I sometimes like a little bit of anise and sometimes don't. In this case, I think it comes off as sweeter and more candy, and therefore not quite as harsh. Although there is a lot of anise. I don't want anybody to think it's like a light anise flavor. This is just like concentrated good and plenties and black licorice. So if you don't like those things, then I'd stay away. But overall, I think it's pretty interesting. I think I'd maybe try it again. All in all, though, I think I like our lemon spring quite a bit better. It's just a really well-balanced cocktail. It's got some spiciness there. The botanicals and the Metaxa are giving a lot of depth. Yeah, this is a good one. You could serve this in springtime or in wintertime or in fall or any other time. Anyway, on that bombshell, I want to thank everybody for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And have a good drink and have a good day. Opa. That's where we're going.